Ouch, that hurts to watch, doesn't it? Longtime Democrat strategist Rick Ritter recently told Politico, as Satchel Paige famously said about age, it's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. But this does matter to voters, and Biden's physical frailty complicates his effort to convince voters that re-electing him is a vote for stability, because it's hard for anyone to embody stability at 80 years old. The quote appeared in a recent Politico story, noting that in recent weeks, President Biden's lack of socks as he climbs off his Marine One helicopter. The informality of the president's wardrobe distracted from something else, something reporters who travel with him have been noticing for some time. Biden boarded using the shorter set of retractable stairs that fold into the belly of the plane. The routine began a few months ago, the president increasingly avoiding the grander, more traditional doorway near the front of the aircraft on the main passenger level, higher above the tarmac. The new routine looks to be another subtle accommodation to the president's age. It is hiding in plain sight, although the White House won't concede that interpretation. While many Biden advisors Politico contacted would not comment publicly on the change, two privately acknowledged an intentional shift to steer the 80-year-old president to the lower stairs more often to make his travel easier and limit the possibility for missteps. After all, why climb 26, sometimes wobbly steps at Joint Base Andrews, raised off the back of a pickup truck that drives up beside Air Force One, when you have the option of stepping up or down just 14 steps?
I think one of the assumptions has been that the mainstream, the establishment media, the legacy media has been covering for Joe Biden for years. The fact they allowed him to run a presidential campaign and never coming outdoors was astonishing to me. But they had an objective, and that was to beat Trump, and that was their primary objective. Now you're beginning to see cracks in that. And what that tells me is they're concerned that Joe Biden, with his current status, his current physical health, his current mental health, and quite honestly, the corruption that is enveloping him, can't win in 2024.
So it's not just that they're starting to report on his mental and physical deterioration, but they're also starting to pick up on some of the corruption scandals that really previously only the conservative media was covering at all.
Right. It was all that thing, all the Hunter Biden laptop and the like was conspiracy theory until it wasn't. And like a lot of things we found. Let me tell you a story. I think this will enlighten the listeners. When I was a young man, I worked for the National Rifle Association. We were having a campaign in Maryland, a handgun ban campaign, and NRA was heavily invested in trying to stop it. The Washington Post ran headlines saying that the NRA ads in Maryland were lying like 12 days in a row. Headlines, front page headlines in the Washington Post. The person who was running the campaign, a guy named George Young, went in and met with the ombudsman of the Washington Post. For those of you who don't know, the ombudsman is the person who's supposed to keep everything honest. And in meeting with the ombudsman, he brought all the proof that every single thing we were saying in those ads was true and could be backed up with proof after proof. And the ombudsman looked him in the eye and said, "You run your campaign, we'll run ours." That's corporate media, and it always has been corporate media, and they haven't changed. So don't expect honesty. Look for what their actual motives are for changing their behavior, because it isn't because they want to suddenly become the bright lights of journalism. It's because they have an objective, and Joe Biden may not meet that objective anymore.
So maybe they're trying to kneecap him?
I think that that's a high probability. I think it's a high probability they've made a determination that Joe Biden cannot win in 2024, and they can't hide him for the next year and a half through an election campaign. And in making that determination, they're now trying to make certain they're not stuck with a problem. And that problem is Robert Kennedy Jr. being the only alternative on the Democrat ballot to Joe Biden, an incapacitated Joe Biden.
Ultimately, there's no real way to obscure how the rigors of the world's most demanding job are affecting the oldest person to ever hold it. Thanks for watching, and if you like what we're doing here at Americans for Limited Government, please like and share this video and comment below. Let us know what you think about Joe Biden's age.